The colony on Virella was quiet, almost too quiet. The dim orange light of the twin suns barely touched the horizon, and most of the settlers had already gone to their small homes. Only the hum of the machines and the occasional beep of a monitor broke the silence in the main control room. Milo sat in front of the large communication console, his eyes fixed on the screen. He loved nights like this when the stars above seemed endless, and the unknown felt close enough to touch. Milo was a young engineer, quick with his hands and clever with machines. But what fascinated him most was the mystery of space. Even after years on Virella, he still felt the same excitement whenever a signal came through, no matter how weak or distorted. Tonight, something unusual appeared on the screen. A faint pulse blinked in a corner of the display, almost lost among the background noise. Milo frowned. He had monitored every signal coming near Virella, and nothing like this had ever appeared before. The pattern was strange, organized, yet unlike any human transmission he knew. "Hello?" Milo muttered to himself. His fingers danced over the controls, adjusting the filters and amplifying the signal. The pulse grew slightly clearer, and he felt a shiver of excitement. This was it. Something new, something unexplored. He didn't notice Nora enter the room until she spoke. Finding something interesting? Nora was a communication specialist, responsible for translating and understanding signals from space. Her hair was tied back neatly, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity. She leaned over Milo's shoulder, scanning the data. This is unusual," Milo said, pointing at the blinking pattern. "It's not from any colony ship or probe. It doesn't match any star system codes we know." Nora's eyes widened. "Could it be a natural phenomenon?" Milo shook his head. "I've checked everything. It's not random. It's too regular, too precise. Someone, or something, sent it." They worked together side by side, adjusting the filters, checking frequencies, and running simulations. The quiet room was filled with the soft sounds of keys tapping, monitors beeping, and their occasional whispers. Time passed, but neither noticed. In the darkness of the control room, they found warmth in their shared excitement. A quiet connection forming without words. Finally, the signal became slightly clearer, revealing short bursts of patterns that almost looked like a simple code. Milo leaned back, rubbing his eyes. "I think I can make out a part of it. It's like a call, but I don't understand who or what is sending it." Nora smiled softly. "You always find the interesting things, Milo." He looked at her, caught by her calm confidence and the sparkle of curiosity in her eyes. He felt a strange mix of admiration and something more, though he wasn't sure what it was. It was the first time he realized that solving mysteries felt better with someone else beside him. "Do you think we should tell the council?" Milo asked. "Or should we try to understand it ourselves first?" Nora paused, thinking. "We should try ourselves. If this signal is as important as it seems, we need to know what it really is before we bring it to anyone else." Milo nodded, feeling a thrill of adventure. "Then we'll work together." The hours passed, and outside the twin suns dipped further below the horizon. Shadows stretched across the colony, and the night grew darker. Milo and Nora didn't notice the time. They were too focused, too fascinated by the strange pulse from the darkness of space. At one point, Milo glanced at Nora as she adjusted the settings. Her concentration was intense, but there was a gentle warmth in her smile when she looked up at him. He realized he enjoyed her company more than he expected. They weren't just colleagues working late. They were explorers together, facing the unknown as a team. Suddenly, the signal blinked in a pattern that caught both their attention. Milo leaned closer, heart racing. "Did you see that?" Nora nodded. "It's repeating, like a message. It's faint but clear enough that someone sent it deliberately." The room seemed smaller, the hum of machines louder as they stared at the screen. Both felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The unknown always brought a little fear, but together they felt ready. Milo reached for the communication log, documenting every detail. "We need to be careful," he said quietly. "If this is a distress call or something important, we have to get it right." Nora placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We'll do it, together." And in that quiet moment, surrounded by the faint glow of monitors and the distant stars of Virella's sky, something unspoken passed between them. A promise of trust, a spark of friendship, and perhaps the beginnings of something deeper. The mysterious signal continued to blink from the dark reaches of space, small but persistent. Milo and Nora knew their lives were about to change. They didn't know how or why, but they were ready to follow the signal into the unknown side by side. Outside, the twin suns had set completely, leaving Virella in darkness. But in the control room, two humans shone brightly, curious, brave, and slowly discovering the warmth of connection in the vast, cold universe. The next morning, the colony on Virella buzzed with its usual activity. Settlers went about their duties, tending small gardens, maintaining equipment, and checking solar arrays. But Milo and Nora hardly noticed the ordinary bustle. They were already back in the control room, leaning over the console, eyes bright with determination. The mysterious signal had not disappeared. In fact, as the night passed, it had grown slightly stronger, as if the sender wanted to be heard. Milo adjusted the frequency once again, while Nora cross-checked the readings against known star charts. "It's moving," Nora said softly, pointing at the screen. "Not fast, but it's shifting direction." "Could it be a ship?" Milo frowned, thinking. "I don't think so. It doesn't match any propulsion patterns we know. Whatever it is, it's sending this intentionally from somewhere, or something." Nora leaned closer and their shoulders brushed. Milo felt a small warmth spread through him. He looked at her face, her eyes bright with curiosity, and realized that solving this mystery felt much better with her beside him. She was calm, clever, and brave, and he felt a trust growing between them that was rare in life on Virella. Hours passed as they worked together, decoding small fragments of the signal. They spoke in whispers, careful not to disturb the colony's quiet, but each word brought them closer. Milo told Nora about his first day on Virella, how lonely it had felt at first. She laughed softly, recalling how she had spent her early days climbing the communication towers to watch the stars, dreaming about messages from the unknown. "You always think there's a story behind every signal," Milo said, smiling. "And maybe there is," Nora replied, her eyes shining. "We just have to find it." Their teamwork was seamless. Milo adjusted the technical settings while Nora interpreted the patterns, each step bringing small victories. When a fragment of the signal finally resolved into a short repeating code, both of them leaned back, breathing in unison. "It's definitely not random," Nora said, her voice filled with awe. "Someone or something wanted us to hear it." Milo nodded, feeling a thrill of excitement. "Then we'll find out why." By mid-afternoon, the two had grown so absorbed in their work that the rest of the colony faded into the background. Outside, the twin suns glared down on the dusty plains. But inside the control room, the world had shrunk to the space between Milo and Nora, the blinking signal on the screen, and the hum of the machines. A sudden power fluctuation made the lights flicker. Milo cursed softly, standing quickly. "The storm is moving closer. It might knock out the systems if we're not careful." Nora's hands flew across the keyboard, rerouting power and adjusting backup systems. "I've got it," she said confidently. "We can keep the signal active if we work together." They moved in perfect rhythm, Milo handling the physical connections while Nora managed the software and data flow. The storm raged outside, wind howling against the colony's protective dome. But inside, the two humans worked calmly, their hearts steady, their minds focused. When the lights finally stabilized and the signal continued to pulse steadily, Milo leaned against the console, letting out a long breath. "We did it," Nora smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "We make a good team." Milo looked at her, realizing the truth in her words went beyond just work. They had faced the storm together, trusted each other, and found comfort in that trust. A quiet understanding passed between them, one that didn't need words. The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. They analyzed more fragments, noting unusual patterns and frequencies. Sometimes, when the work became too intense, they would pause and share small moments, handing each other a cup of water, pointing out a star through the control room's window, or laughing quietly at a misinterpreted signal. These little moments made the long hours feel lighter, the isolation of Virella less lonely. As evening approached, the storm had passed, leaving the colony bathed in a soft orange glow from the setting suns. Milo and Nora stepped outside briefly to stretch. The sky was calm now and the stars began to appear, tiny pinpoints of light scattered across the darkening sky. "It feels bigger out here," Milo said, gazing upward. Like the universe is watching us. Nora smiled, standing close to him. Maybe it is, she whispered. Maybe that signal wanted someone to see it, someone to care. Milo looked at her, a warmth spreading in his chest. I'm glad it found us, he said softly. Nora's eyes met his, and in that quiet moment no words were needed. They understood. The next morning, Milo and Nora were back in the control room before the colony had even fully woken. The signal had not faded overnight. If anything, it seemed clearer now, pulsing in a steady rhythm that almost felt like it was calling to them. Milo adjusted the monitors, watching the pattern carefully. It's definitely repeating, he said, his voice filled with quiet excitement. There's structure here. Someone or something sent this deliberately. Nora nodded, leaning closer to the screen. I've tried translating it with the colony's standard codes. No match, but I think it might be a simple type of communication. Maybe a distress call. Milo's eyebrows rose. A distress call? From where? That's the part we don't know, Nora said. It's coming from outside our mapped space beyond the usual exploration zones. It could be from an uncharted moon or asteroid field. Milo felt a thrill of anticipation. An unknown location, a mysterious signal, and the chance to uncover something new. It was everything he loved about working with space. And sharing this moment with Nora made it feel even more exciting. Do you think we can trace it? He asked. Nora smiled faintly. I think we can try. But we'll need to convince the council to let us investigate physically. This isn't just a lab problem anymore, it's an exploration mission. Milo's mind raced. Then let's prepare. If we can gather enough evidence from here, they'll have to listen. The two worked together, analyzing every pulse, every small variation in the signal. They compared it with star maps and planetary scans, marking possible locations. Each time they discovered a clue, their excitement grew. The bond between them strengthened too, not just as colleagues, but as two people who shared the same wonder for the unknown. By late afternoon, they had narrowed the source of the signal to a small moon, orbiting a gas giant on the edge of their sector. Milo leaned back, rubbing his temples. This is incredible. No one has explored this moon before. If it's sending a call for help, we might be the first humans to respond. Nora looked at him, her eyes shining. It's a big responsibility, but I want to go with you. Milo felt his heart skip a beat. I want that too, he admitted. He realized that whatever danger or challenge lay ahead, it was easier to face with Nora by his side. They drafted a report for the Colony Council, detailing the signal, the potential origin, and the importance of exploring it. When the council reviewed it, many were skeptical. But Milo and Nora's careful analysis and passion won them over. Permission was granted. They would investigate the source of the signal themselves. That evening, the control room was quiet, the colony's activity winding down. Milo and Nora sat together, planning the journey. The shuttle they would use was small but reliable, perfect for reaching the moon. They discussed supplies, equipment, and what they might find. As they spoke, a comfortable silence settled between them. Milo looked at Nora, thinking about the hours they had spent together decoding the signal. I'm glad it was us who found this, he said softly. Nora smiled, her hand brushing against his as she reached for the navigation charts. Me too, she whispered. We work well together, and I like being with you. Milo felt a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with the monitors or the lights of the control room. He returned her smile, understanding her words without needing more explanation. The unknown could be dangerous, but with her it felt exciting and safe at the same time. The next day, the preparations were complete. Supplies were packed, navigation routes set, and the shuttle checked from top to bottom. Milo and Nora stepped aboard, their hearts pounding with anticipation. As the engines hummed to life, they glanced at each other, a silent promise passing between them. No matter what lay ahead, they would face it together. As the shuttle lifted off and the colony of Virella grew smaller beneath them, the twin suns sinking below the horizon, Milo and Nora turned their attention to the stars. The signal pulsed steadily in their instruments, a beacon guiding them into the unknown. Do you think anyone else has heard this? Milo asked quietly. Maybe, Nora replied, but I think it chose us for a reason. It wants humans to find it. Milo nodded, feeling a thrill of hope. The idea that the universe had sent a signal just for them made the adventure feel personal, meaningful. They were explorers now, not just of space but of each other's hearts and courage. The journey ahead was uncertain, They didn't know what the moon held, whether it was empty, dangerous, or full of life. But they felt ready. The bond they had formed in the quiet of the control room, over hours of decoding and discovery, gave them strength. Outside the shuttle, the darkness of space stretched endlessly, stars twinkling faintly like tiny signals themselves. Milo and Nora sat side by side, hands brushing occasionally, hearts quietly beating in sync with the pulse of the distant call. The signal in the dark was waiting, and they were ready to follow it, together. The shuttle shivered as it passed through the upper atmosphere of the gas giant orbiting the uncharted moon. Milo gripped the controls, eyes focused on the instruments, while Nora monitored the signal, her fingers dancing over the console. The pulsing light on her screen was faint but steady, a guiding beacon through the darkness of space. "This is it," she whispered. "The moon is just ahead." Milo nodded, his jaw tight with concentration. "Let's make this a smooth landing. We don't want any surprises." Outside the window, the surface of the moon slowly came into view. It was unlike any world they had studied before. Jagged rock formations rose like towers from the pale gray soil, while strange glowing plants dotted the landscape, casting soft light across the terrain. The sight made Milo's heart race with awe. "It's beautiful," Nora said, her voice full of wonder. She pointed to a cluster of luminous plants. "I've never seen anything like that." "It's almost like the moon is alive," Milo smiled. "Alive or not, we have to stay focused. The signal is strongest near that crater." He pointed to a deep depression in the surface, barely visible from space. "That's our target." The shuttle descended slowly, engines humming softly. Dust rose from the moon's surface as the landing legs touched down with a light shake. Milo exhaled, relieved, and Nora gave a small cheer. They had made it safely. Stepping out of the shuttle, they felt the low gravity tug at their movements, each step lighter than on Varela. The air was thin but breathable, and a faint hum seemed to come from the ground itself, in rhythm with the signal in their instruments. "Look at this," Nora said, pointing to a path of glowing stones leading toward the crater. "It's like it's guiding us." Milo followed, curiosity pushing him forward. "It's almost intentional." He glanced at Nora. "Do you feel it too?" Nora nodded. "Yes, I feel like we're not alone here. Not in a dangerous way. More like the moon itself is welcoming us." They walked carefully, their footsteps echoing softly on the strange terrain. The glowing plant swayed gently, though there was no wind, creating a serene, otherworldly atmosphere. Milo and Nora shared quiet words as they moved, discussing possibilities and theories, their excitement mingling with awe. When they reached the crater, the source of the signal became clearer. A strange object lay at the center, half buried in the gray soil. It was smooth and metallic, shaped like an oval, with faint lines of light running along its surface. The pulse of the signal matched the soft glow on the object as if it were alive. Milo approached cautiously, scanning the object with his instruments. This isn't anything human-made. Look at the structure. It's too precise, too organized." Nora knelt beside it, gently brushing some dust away. "And the light. It responds when we get close. Almost like it recognizes us." They exchanged a glance, a mix of wonder and nervousness. This was more than a simple discovery. It was a living mystery. Milo felt the weight of responsibility. Whatever this was, it had chosen them to find it. As they explored, Milo noticed faint patterns etched around the object, almost like a language. "Could this be a message?" he asked. Nora studied the lines. Maybe, or maybe it's instructions. Either way, it's trying to communicate. They spent hours carefully observing, documenting, and studying the artifact. The sun of the gas giant dipped lower, casting long shadows across the crater. Despite the strangeness of the environment, Milo and Nora felt a deep connection, not only to the discovery but to each other. Every shared look, every whispered observation, built a sense of companionship stronger than anything they had known before. At one point, Milo reached for a tool and accidentally dropped it. Nora bent down to pick it up, their hands brushing. A small laugh escaped both of them, breaking the tension. Milo felt a warmth spread through his chest, and he realized he enjoyed moments like these. Simple, human, shared experiences amidst the vast unknown. As night fell on the moon, the glow from the artifact and the plants became brighter against the dark sky. Milo and Nora set up a small camp nearby, staying close to the object. They shared a quiet meal, talking about the signal, the artifact, and the possibilities it might hold. "I never thought we'd get this far," Milo said softly. It's more than I imagined. Nora smiled, her eyes reflecting the glowing plants. And we're just at the beginning. Who knows what we'll discover next? Milo reached out and gently touched her hand. I'm glad I'm here with you. Nora's hand lingered in his. Me too, she whispered. The signal pulsed steadily from the artifact, a soft heartbeat in the quiet night. Milo and Nora sat together, hands in her. The morning light on the moon was soft and pale, casting a silver glow over the crater. Milo and Nora woke in their small camp, the strange artifact still pulsing faintly at the center. Its light seemed stronger now, as if it had sensed their presence during the night. Milo stretched, rubbing his eyes. I didn't sleep much. I kept thinking about the signal and the patterns around this thing. Nora smiled, sipping from her water container. Me too. I feel like we're on the edge of discovering something incredible. They packed up their small camp and returned to the artifact. Milo began scanning it with his portable instruments, while Nora carefully examined the glowing lines etched on its surface. The patterns were intricate, almost like a map, but they didn't resemble anything they had ever seen before. It's more than just a machine, Nora said softly. It feels alive, Milo nodded. Or it's designed to respond to life. Look at this. Every time we touch a certain point, the light pulses stronger. They experimented carefully, touching small areas of the artifact. Each touch caused faint waves of light to spread across its surface. The signal, once faint and distant, seemed to respond in kind, pulsing faster with each interaction. Milo's heart raced. It's communicating with us, somehow. Nora looked at him, eyes wide. Do you think it wants something? Milo thought for a moment. Maybe it needs help. Or maybe it wants to teach us something. The pair spent hours exploring, documenting, and observing. They noted how the artifact reacted differently depending on where they touched or approached it. Some areas glowed brighter than others, and a faint humming filled the air, low but steady, like a heartbeat. This is incredible, Milo said, crouching near one side of the object. If we can understand the pattern, it could tell us who or what sent the signal. Nora knelt beside him, pointing at a sequence of lights. I think these lines could be instructions, maybe a guide or a map. If we follow it, it might lead us somewhere else, or show us more about this moon. Milo studied the lines carefully. You're right, but we need to be patient. We can't rush this. One wrong move and we might lose the connection. As they worked, a gentle wind stirred the glowing plants nearby, their light flickering softly. Milo looked at Nora and felt a quiet sense of companionship. I'm glad we're doing this together, he said. Nora smiled, brushing dust from her sleeve. Me too. I can't imagine figuring this out without you. The artifact pulsed suddenly, brighter than before, and the signal from their instruments spiked. Milo and Nora exchanged a glance, both feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. The artifact was responding in a way they hadn't expected. Look at this, Milo said, pointing at a small opening that had appeared in the surface. It's like it's inviting us to see inside. Nora nodded, a thrill of anticipation in her eyes. Careful. We don't know what's inside, but I think we should look. Together they approached the small opening. It led into a shallow cavity within the artifact, illuminated by soft, flowing light. Milo reached inside, gently probing with a tool, and found a small, smooth object. He pulled it out carefully, revealing a crystal-like structure that glowed from within. Nora gasped softly. It's beautiful. And it feels alive, like it has its own energy. Milo studied it, fascinated. This must be the core, the source of the signal. If we can understand it, we might unlock the message completely. For hours they observed the crystal, noting how it reacted to their movements and the surrounding light. Each discovery brought more questions than answers, but Milo and Nora were undeterred. They shared ideas, theories, and small moments of laughter when one of their guesses turned out wrong. As the day drew to a close, the artifact pulsed gently, as if settling for the night. Milo and Nora sat side by side, exhausted but exhilarated. The moon around them was silent, glowing softly under the light of the distant gas giant, yet alive with the subtle hum of the artifact. I feel like we're part of something much bigger than us, Milo said quietly. Nora rested her head slightly on his shoulder. We are, and we'll figure it out together. I know we will. The signal continued to pulse in the background, faint but steady, like a heartbeat calling across space. Milo and Nora knew that the artifact held secrets, and that the answers could change everything they knew about their world, the universe, and even themselves. For now, though, they allowed themselves a quiet moment of peace. Together, they watched the artifact glow softly, feeling the thrill of discovery and the warmth of companionship. The universe was vast, full of mystery and possibility, but with each other, they felt brave enough to face whatever came next. And somewhere deep in the unknown, the artifact pulsed in response, as if acknowledging them, two humans who had followed the signal into the dark, ready to uncover its secrets. The moon's surface shimmered under the pale light of the distant gas giant, casting long shadows over the crater where Milo and Nora studied the artifact. The glow of the crystal pulsed steadily, but suddenly, a sharp vibration ran through the ground. Milo stumbled, grabbing onto a rock for balance. "What was that?" Nora asked, her voice tight with concern. She clutched her scanner, eyes wide. I don't know," Milo replied, checking his instruments. "The artifact is reacting. Something is happening inside it." The humming of the crystal grew louder, forming a low, rhythmic pulse. Lights on the artifact flashed rapidly, sending reflections across the rocky walls of the crater. Milo realized the energy from the crystal was increasing, and with it the pulse of the signal grew stronger, almost urgent. "This could be dangerous," he said, feeling a knot of worry in his stomach. "We need to be careful." Nora nodded, keeping her voice steady. "Let's not panic. We can handle this." They approached the artifact cautiously, their hands hovering over the glowing surface. Milo tried to adjust the instruments to stabilize the energy flow, while Nora studied the crystal, looking for any pattern that could explain the sudden surge. Suddenly, the energy burst in a short, bright pulse. The ground shook, and a sharp beam of light shot upward from the artifact. Milo shielded his eyes while Nora ducked behind a low rock. When the light faded, the crystal was still glowing, but the instruments were off balance, readings erratic. Milo swallowed hard. "We need to stabilize it before it overloads. If it does, we could lose it. Or worse," Nora nodded quickly. "I'll reroute the scanner and try to synchronize with the signal. You handle the power controls." Working together, they moved carefully, following the rhythms of the crystal's pulsing energy. Milo adjusted the external power flow, keeping the artifact from spiking dangerously. Nora used her instruments to match the pulse of the signal, attempting to calm it. Every movement required concentration, but their teamwork was seamless, built on trust and the hours they had spent deciphering the artifact. A sudden flash lit the crater, and Milo nearly dropped his tools. "It's reacting faster. Be ready, Nora." She moved swiftly, pressing controls and adjusting readings, keeping the signal stable. "I've got it," she shouted over the humming, her voice filled with focus and determination. After several tense minutes, the pulse began to slow, the vibration in the ground easing. The light softened, returning to the gentle glow that had welcomed them to the crater. Milo let out a long breath, leaning against the side of the artifact. "We did it," he said, voice trembling slightly from relief. "It's stable." Nora wiped sweat from her forehead and smiled, though her eyes still held the thrill of adrenaline. "We make a good team. Calm and precise under pressure." Milo looked at her, feeling something deeper than relief or excitement. "I couldn't have done it without you." Nora's hand brushed against his as she adjusted the instruments. Their eyes met, and in that silent moment the fear and tension of the crisis melted into something warm and reassuring. Milo felt a quiet certainty. No matter what challenges they faced, they could rely on each other. The crystal pulsed gently now, as if acknowledging their efforts. Milo reached out, touching it carefully. A soft wave of light flowed through his fingers, warm and calming. Nora placed her hand beside his, and together they felt the rhythm of the artifact's energy, steady and inviting. "It's like it's thanking us," Nora whispered. Milo smiled. "Or maybe it's letting us know we're ready for the next step." They sat near the artifact, catching their breath and watching the soft glow. The moon around them seemed calm now, peaceful after the sudden surge. For the first time, they allowed themselves a moment to relax, to feel the quiet companionship between them. "I never imagined something like this," Milo said, looking at the crystal. "It's alive in a way. And we're part of it now." Nora leaned close. "And we're part of each other too," she said softly, her eyes reflecting the light of the crystal. Milo reached out, gently holding her hand. "I'm glad we're here together." Nora squeezed his hand. "Me too. We'll face whatever comes next, side by side. As night fell over the moon, the soft glow of the artifact lit the crater like a gentle lantern. Outside, the stars twinkled faintly, distant but ever present. Inside, Milo and Nora felt a quiet strength, the courage to face the unknown, the trust to rely on each other, and the thrill of discovery that only the universe could provide. The artifact pulsed steadily, a soft heartbeat in the darkness guiding them forward, and Milo and Nora knew as they sat side by side that together, they could face any challenge the universe sent their way. The first crisis. The shuttle hummed softly as it left the moon behind, its engines steady and strong. Milo and Nora sat side by side, watching the glowing surface fade into the distance. The artifact rested securely in the cargo bay, its soft pulse filling the small cabin like a heartbeat. Milo leaned back in his seat, rubbing his temples. "I still can't believe we actually found it," he said quietly. Nora smiled, her eyes reflecting the soft glow from the instrument panel. "I know, and the best part is, we discovered it together." Milo glanced at her, feeling a warmth that went beyond the excitement of discovery. "I've realized something," he said softly. "Everything out there, the stars, the moons, the signals, they're amazing. But it's better when you have someone to share it with." Nora reached over and brushed her hand against his. "I feel the same way," she whispered. The journey back to Varela was quiet, except for the occasional hum of the shuttle and the soft pulsing from the artifact. Milo and Nora spent the time reviewing their notes, planning how to present their findings to the Colony Council. Every detail they recorded, every observation, told the story of the moon, the artifact, and the mysterious signal that had guided them. As Varela grew closer, the twin suns rising in the sky cast golden light across the shuttle's windows. Milo felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. They had discovered something incredible, but they knew the colony would be eager to examine it, and the recognition that came with it might change everything. "Do you think they'll understand how important this is?" Milo asked, glancing at Nora. "They will," Nora replied confidently. "And even if they don't, we know what we found. That's what matters." When the shuttle landed smoothly on the colony's landing pad, a small crowd of settlers and council members had gathered. Their eyes widened as Milo and Nora carefully unloaded the artifact. The crystal pulsed gently, as if aware of the attention. Council leader Rena stepped forward, her face a mixture of astonishment and respect. "Milo, Nora, this is remarkable. You've not only traced the signal but brought back proof of its origin. This will change how we understand the outer sectors." Milo nodded, glancing at Nora. "It was a team effort. We couldn't have done it alone." Nora smiled at the council, then turned to Milo. "And we wouldn't want to," she said quietly. Milo felt a small laugh escape him, relieved by her calm confidence. The council spent hours examining the artifact, listening as Milo and Nora described their journey, the reaction of the crystal, and the strange signals they had received. The colony's scientists were fascinated, asking questions and marveling at every detail. Through it all, Milo and Nora spoke as a team, their voices steady, their connection clear. When the crowd finally dispersed, Milo and Nora stepped outside into the soft light of the twin suns. The colony buzzed with renewed energy, settlers eager to learn more and discuss the discovery. Milo looked at Nora, feeling a quiet pride. "We did it," he said softly. Nora reached for his hand. "We did, and I think this is only the beginning." Milo smiled, squeezing her hand gently. "I feel the same way. There's still so much out there, and now we know. We can face it together." For the first time since the journey began, they allowed themselves to relax completely. The threat of unknown energy, the dangers of the moon, and the challenges of the artifact had tested them, but together, they had overcome every obstacle. As the suns climbed higher in the sky, Milo and Nora walked through the colony, sharing small laughs and quiet conversations, feeling the bond between them grow stronger. The settlers noticed it too, not just the respect for their bravery, but the gentle connection between the two explorers who had faced the unknown side by side. That evening, Milo and Nora returned to the control room, where the signal was still faintly visible on the monitors. The artifact rested safely in a containment chamber, its light pulsing softly as if acknowledging them again. Milo watched Nora studying the screen. "Do you think the signal will return?" he asked. Nora looked up, a soft smile on her face. Maybe, and if it does, we'll be ready. Together. Milo felt a deep sense of contentment. The mystery of the signal had brought them adventure, discovery, and something more. A connection built on trust, courage, and shared curiosity. Outside, the colony of Varela shimmered in the light of the twin suns. The world was no longer the quiet, lonely place it had seemed before. Now it was filled with promise and possibilities, just like the universe itself. And Milo and Nora knew that together they could face whatever came next. Hand in hand, they watched the fading glow of the artifact, hearts steady and eyes bright, ready to continue their journey, not just across the stars, but in life, side by side. The signal had brought them together, guided them through danger, and revealed wonders beyond imagination. And as night fell over Varela, Milo and Nora stood united, ready for new adventures, their bond stronger than ever. The colony of Varela was calm that evening. The twin suns had dipped below the horizon, leaving soft orange light fading into the cool darkness of night. Milo and Nora sat together in the control room, reviewing their notes from the artifact and the moon. The room was quiet except for the gentle hum of the monitors and the soft pulse of the crystal in its containment chamber. It's hard to believe how much has changed in just a few days, Milo said, leaning back in his chair. We went from decoding a faint signal to discovering something completely unknown. And we did it together. Nora smiled, her hand brushing against his. And we'll keep doing it. Who knows what's out there waiting for us next? As they spoke, the monitors flickered, drawing their attention. A faint new pulse appeared on the screen, almost like a whisper among the usual background signals. Milo leaned forward, adjusting the filters. That can't be. It's a new signal. Nora's eyes widened with excitement. It's faint, but it has the same pattern as before, like it's connected to the artifact. Milo nodded slowly, feeling the familiar thrill of discovery. And this time we know how to handle it. We're ready. The new signal pulsed steadily, small but persistent, calling out from the dark reaches of space. Milo and Nora exchanged a glance, both aware of the possibilities. It could be another mystery, another adventure, or something entirely unexpected. But this time they weren't alone, they had each other. I wonder if it's a message for us, Nora said softly. Like before, choosing humans to respond. Or maybe it's inviting us, Milo replied, a smile on his face. To see what else the universe wants to share. They worked together, carefully decoding the faint pulses. The signal was different but familiar in its rhythm. It spoke of distance, of space far beyond the mapped sectors, and of unknown worlds waiting to be explored. Milo adjusted the instruments while Nora recorded every detail, their movements synchronized from months of teamwork. After a few hours, the signal grew slightly stronger. Milo leaned back, taking a deep breath. It's incredible. The universe keeps sending these calls, and we're the ones who get to answer. Nora reached for his hand, a soft smile on her lips. And we'll face it all together. Just like always. Outside, the twin moons of Varela glowed softly in the night sky, casting silver light across the colony. Milo and Nora watched for a moment, feeling the vastness of space around them, but also the closeness of each other. The new signal was a reminder that the universe was full of mysteries, but it was also full of opportunity, adventure, and wonder. I feel like this is just the beginning, Milo said quietly. There's so much out there, and we've only seen a fraction of it. Nora nodded, leaning gently against him. And we'll see it together, side by side. The monitors flickered again, and the pulse of the signal seemed to respond to their attention. Milo and Nora smiled at each other, understanding that they had been chosen, not just for the artifact, but for the journey ahead. Every challenge, every discovery, and every quiet moment had brought them closer, not only as explorers, but as companions. The crystal in the containment chamber pulsed softly, like a heartbeat, echoing the rhythm of the signal. Milo and Nora sat quietly, letting the gentle glow fill the room. They didn't need words to express the connection they shared. It was in every glance, every touch, every shared moment of wonder. Do you think we'll ever find the source of all these signals? Milo asked softly. Nora smiled, squeezing his hand. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that we follow them together. That's the adventure and the joy. Milo nodded, feeling a deep sense of peace. The universe was vast and unknown, but with Nora by his side, he felt brave enough to face anything. The signals in the dark were not frightening. They were invitations, reminders that there was more to explore, more to learn, and more to share. As night deepened over Varela, Milo and Nora continued to study the new signal, hearts steady and minds alert. The colony was quiet around them, but inside the control room, two humans shone brightly, curious, courageous, and united. And somewhere in the dark expanse of space, the new signal pulsed again, faint but steady, waiting for them. Milo and Nora knew that it was a call to the unknown, and they were ready to answer it, together. With hands clasped and eyes fixed on the blinking pulse, they felt a quiet certainty. Whatever mysteries the universe held, whatever adventures lay ahead, they would face them side by side. The signal in the dark had brought them together, and now it promised a future full of discovery, wonder, and shared courage. The star.